Hey there, welcome back to my channel. We're going to be doing some more planting today. I still have a little bit of this stash left to work through, and what we're left with is all perennials. So a few of these I purchased with the intended spot in mind, where they were going to go, but the others I either got on discount when I got just because I thought it looked super cool, to Hosta that I just thought were beautiful. Let's see, my dog's pruning one of them, just what always happens with grasses. So anyway, yes, one of them is a grass, but I just want to get these all in the ground today. It's windy. I can tell that some sort of weather is moving in. We're supposed to get some rain over the next like 5 days. So I'd really love to get all of these in the ground so they can enjoy the chill weather that's coming up and get kind of nestled in as the soil gets some rain in it. And yeah, I would just love to check all of these off the list, get them all in the ground, and then the only planting project that I will have left for now is to get the containers potted up on the back porch, the big square cedar ones that have the boxwood in them. So I would just really like to get all of these today, all these perennials in the ground, and be able to feel good about having that accomplished. So again, stop. You're ruining the pretty grass. You're ruining it. Okay, let's look at all these plants that we're going to be working with today and go get them in the ground. All right, let's start with the one that Bella was just chewing on. Northern Lights Descampsia, I think. Full to part sun. Again, this one also says deer don't like it, which I've heard about ornamental grasses. So 16 to 36 inches tall, which is kind of throwing me because I'm just really not sure what to air. That's even kind of almost front of the border for me versus mid to the back of the border. Also with the width, probably because I'm not going to be watering it a ton. It might not spread that far, but it says it's also evergreen, which I thought was interesting, and it has fall winter color. So this I think will be a really pretty one. I love this kind of the variegation. It has a little bit of rosy tones in the grass, in the blades. So if the dogs will leave this alone, I mean, we're literally surrounded by grass. Everywhere there's grass. Why they decide to chew on my ornamental grasses, I'm not sure. But this one, I just thought it was beautiful and couldn't pass it up. So that one is going to find a home today. I also have two of these. They're Heather. The name of it there, Dark Beauty. Again, this is one that deer evidently don't like. So these are going to be also finding their home down in the no dig bed that's a little further away from the house. It says full sun, bright red double flowers. I don't know. I thought that the picture looked kind of pinky, so I thought I'd go for it. I don't really have much in the red bloomed family in my garden, so we'll have to see about that. But just kind of a spreader too. It can get up to 24 inches wide and 10 to 12 inches tall. So, and it does say that it's drought tolerant as well. And they just had two of these at Bauman's when I was there a bit ago, and they were $5. So I was like, sure, I'll try those. It says that they're evergreen, which I appreciate in my gardens. So yeah, we're gonna get a home for those two as well. And we have these two beautiful Hosta. This one, Wolverine. Shade, of course, it's typical, pretty typical for Hosta. Let's see the habit on this one. Yeah, this one says that it can get pretty wide, 36 to 40 inches wide. So I'm going to take that into consideration as I plant it. I'm kind of limited on shade space, but I've been thinking about where to put these, and I kind of have an idea. So this one is one that I've kind of tried to find for a while. I've kept my eyes out for it. Shadowland Autumn Frost. I just think it's so unique. It's not like any other hostas that I have. Part shade to shade, so this one can maybe take a little bit more sun. And yeah, there's all sorts of information on here. And then this one also doesn't get quite as big as the other one either. So I think I have an idea of where these two will end up. I think this one's going to go in a container, and this one's going to be planted on the edge of a walkway. So move over here. Talk about, so these guys really want to get out of their can. You can see they're starting to turn yellow in their leaves. I got 5 of these. They're just in 5-inch containers. Berry Canary, Digiplexis. I'm not really sure what to think on these, if they're going to set seed and come back. I have read that it's good to consider them as an annual, although this one does say 8 to 11. So we'll have to see. But they were really, really pretty inexpensive, and I just figured they would make a striking impact in a spot out in the front that I can't really plant much else in right now. So I got those to with a spot in mind. And then I also had a spot in mind for these beautiful yarrow. I don't do much orange in my garden. These ones definitely have a terracotta look to them though. I don't know if it's picking that up very well on camera. They're kind of creamy, and I just love the ombre look that they have. If you can see the little the stripes on the petals, and they have just this kind of progression of color, as you can see. These are the newer blooms, and then these are the older ones. So it just has such interest, I think, to it. And of course, the feathery leaves are so pretty. Ironically, I was just weeding a lot of yarrow. We have wild yarrow here that's quite invasive in our lawns and gets into my gardens. It's really unimpressive looking, but the leaves look exactly like this. So it's I don't know, kind of funny to me when I actually plant yarrow in as I'm trying to pull it out. But again, this one, full sun, which is pretty typical for yarrow, 10 to 12 high. So this is not too tall of one, which is great because the typical older varieties of yarrow would flop a lot. And I don't think that will be a problem with this one. So 18 to 24 inches apart. And from experience, I know deer tend to not like these. So these also will be down there in the no dig bed. And then this one. This plant was new to me. I've never seen it before. Just look at those interesting blooms. This is kind of out of the ordinary for me. I don't usually get plants that I'm not familiar with, you know, that I haven't seen featured or I haven't already had in my gardens or whatever, but I just thought this one was really sweet. And so this is what this one is called. Petite Henry Ragged Robin, I guess. I had a tag for it. Let me see. Oh yeah, okay. So here's the actual tag for it. Again, deer resistant. That's kind of always something that I look for and take into mind as I'm purchasing plants, especially when I think that they may be planted kind of further away from the house. I think our dogs have been really busy scaring deer away lately because they've just been barking so much at night. They're my biggest defense against the deer, which is awesome. So again, drought tolerant, which is really great too. Height 18 to 24 inches, which I think is pretty much at 18 inches at least, but kind of almost reminded me of a similar feel to Gara. You know how Gara gets kind of long and tall and just kind of blows in the wind. As you can see, it's obviously doing that right now. So yeah, I just thought this would be a really pretty one to try. And they only had one of them, so I scooped it up and I thought, let's see what this one does. Plus it says it's drought tolerant and long blooming. So all good things. And then up front here we have some sedum, and this you can see is just in clumps. It's not in containers. It's just sitting in this plastic, what this is, litter box maybe. Anyway, these were just dug out of one of my front gardens, gosh, maybe last year, I think, because they weren't performing well where I had them. And they look better right now in this container, which, if you can even call this a container, than they ever have. And I don't even know what variety this is. So that's going to make it a little tricky to plant it in because I don't know really what its habit is. It looks pretty low right now, but it has just kind of, started its season. So I think I have a spot where I can put this where it's okay if it gets, a little taller, because I do believe it's probably more than just a ground cover. So I'll be happy for this plant to have a home for it, because it's just been like this for, I don't know, months, several months, at least since last fall. And it's spring now. So, but you can see how strong and hardy sedums are, because this is the treatment it's received and it's still coming back beautifully. So It'll be good for that one to get in the ground though, and I will feel happy to have all of these finding homes in my garden. I think that was a sweet spot for that guy. I think it contrasts really well with the salvia that we just got in the ground, and then the brightness of the caryopteris that's right next to it, and then the butterfly bush behind it and the dark barberry. I just think that like that airy pop of white looks really pretty right here in this spot. So we're just up here on the front garden bed right now, just getting that one in. And then we're gonna now move down on the other side of that gorgeous Weigela and go down into some of the no-dig beds. Okay, so each of these has found a home and all been watered in. So this is where these guys ended up. These are the heather that I got for $5 at Bauman Farms. And I was going to put one here and then one next to it, kind of flanking the beautyberry, or I was thinking of here and here. But just not knowing the color of that, I just wasn't sure. But then I also thought, since I only have two of them, it would be better to be on either side of the pathway here. So time will tell, once I see the actual color of those, and whether they bloom at the same time as like the lavender and the butterfly bush that's next to this one. That'll tell me, if I feel like I should move them to a different spot. But they are here for now, and I like the contrast of the color of the foliage on this one with the kind of darker purpley ish foliage of this shrub that's behind it, and then contrasting with the silvery of the lavender. So this area over here, oh, it's so sweet. I'm so happy with how this spot is coming along. This is where I put in the northern lights. And I think I'm hoping because it's a little bit more tucked in, surrounded by these other shrubs, maybe the dogs will leave it alone. Maybe they'll go to other grasses that are more easily accessible. Interestingly, they don't really seem to be bothering these ones. These are the Apache rose. Um, I don't know what it was about this one, but they were really pruning on it. So anyway, this is where this one ended up, and I just love the contrast of color and texture and all the things. Now this camellia, it's been being pruned on by the deer, so maybe the deer will keep it in check and so that it won't get too big. But at some point, it might compete with the grass, and I'll have to figure that out when the time comes. But I don't want to leave big, huge spots open in my gardens for years as shrubs like the camellia broaden out and mature. So it's fine. It's worth it to me to have a little grass there in the meantime. So over here on this side is where I ended up putting the yarrow. And I was thinking about this spot actually for the yarrow when I purchased it, just because I think that the brightness of all these colors together is so intriguing to me right now. It's not always what I go for in my gardens, but I just find it very cheery. And actually right up across this grass path and kind of right about there, I have some of the Firefly Peach Sky, I believe it's called, and yarrow that's a proven winners. And it's actually very similar to the coloring of this one. And this one is, I think, a little bit early. I don't have any other yarrow that's in bloom right now. And this was, just pushed because it was in the nursery. So I think there's a pretty good chance that it will be blooming at the same time as the Peach Sky that's over there in future years. So I think that would be really sweet to have that area and that area over there kind of tied together, thanks to the yarrow. So now that we've got all that all done and watered in, we just have the Digiplexis, which I just would call foxglove, left to plant. We have 5 of them, and because they're just in small 5-inch pots, I was thinking of taking them over there to that new no dig bed up there that I've been pretty set on not planting anything more into until the cardboard breaks down and kills off the grass underneath it and stuff, because I just didn't want to aggravate the cardboard and expose the grass at all. But because these are so shallow and such small containers, I think I'm just going to do a cluster, all 5 of them, just a cluster up there so that your eye gets drawn up there with some bright color. It says that they're a hot pink. The tag looks a little bit more kind of muted, I guess. So we'll see. Again, they're not in bloom, so we'll see what we get when they bloom. But I think regardless, I think they'll look really pretty up there. And I don't know if they'll go to seed, if the seeds will be viable, if they'll come back. We'll see next year, like I said, what those will do. But let's go up there and get these in the ground really quick. I think these guys look really sweet right here. I think it is helpful to have just one more thing up here that will bloom. This dogwood will only, I think it'll have white flowers on it. I see some buds coming on it right now. Those will just be white on here, kind of unimpressive, I think, as far as buds go. So it'll be pretty to have some pink, blooming up here. Just two things really quick I wanted to point out. If you see me poke in the tag of the plant, I don't leave them there. I just put them there and then I take a picture of the plant with the tag so that I can put it into a folder on my phone that is just titled plant tags so that when I'm looking for names of plants and stuff, I can easily just scroll through my phone and find what they're called. Because it's amazing that with iPhones and possibly Androids too, you can just search up Digiplexis in your phone, in your photos, and it'll find the tag that says it on there. So then I'll be able to easily see that it's berry canary. And if then I need to look up any of the stats, I can easily do that without having to actually keep the tag. So I do that. I find it very helpful. And then also, as I'm going around, you're probably noticing I'm carrying this around with me, putting some of it into the holes, but this is not actually what this is. I just like these containers, this container for the water soluble fertilizer for Proven Winners annuals, and I just have my biotone in it. I don't really like to carry around my whole big bag, so I just like to use one of these. I just finally replaced my other one that was all broken. It didn't have a handle, and I just put my biotone into this one. So I just carry that around with me. So if you see me using this, know that I'm not actually putting in the water soluble fertilizer. I am putting in biotone, which is super helpful for root growth. And also, while I'm on the topic, you'll also see me often pulling around my little cart here, which I absolutely love. It's a gorilla cart. I don't know what the size is, but it was not too expensive and it is so incredibly handy. I just can put anything that I need in here, including the plants, my auger, the fertilizer, obviously, often my Yeti cup of coffee or my water, and I just tow it around with me. I put my weeding buckets in this so that I can just carry my weeding buckets like through the gardens and then dump them out in here, because it's just easier to drag a wagon than it is to hold and carry the bag that has all the weeds in it. So I love this thing. It's so handy and it's pretty narrow, so I can kind of fit it in through the garden pretty easily. Yeah, I can't recommend this enough. I think between that little garden cart and my Duluth trading overalls and maybe my auger, and yeah, those three things are really great for me for gardening. So now that we're done up here in these front beds, I have to remember to come back and water those guys in because I didn't pull that hose all the way down here. Now we're going to go back into the shade, see if we can find some shade for those hosta. I have, like I said earlier, I have a spot that I'm thinking for those. We'll just have to check and see if they're in too much sun, as it is a little bit more midday right now. It was kind of earlier, before, so I got to see if it's getting more sun, if it's getting too much sun. So we'll head back there into the backyard and look at the hosta. Okay, well, I forgot. We still have the sedum to do, which is going to be, I think, up here in this bed. And then this was one I didn't even mention, this Dusty Miller here. I've had this one I pulled out of another container, I think, and it's just been sitting in this pot. And I'm just going to plant it right here really quick because I have other ones kind of dotting through the front of this bed. So actually, I'm going to get this one in the ground really quick, and then we will go deal with the sedum, and then we will go do the hosta. Here's where I'm thinking for the sedum, which is coincidental because I think a lot of it came out of here. And then I don't know, I might have used to have a clump down here, but it kind of got overtaken. So what I'm thinking is actually just planting it in around this rose and kind of wrapping around the back of the Caryopteris and down here. I think that'll look good. these at last roses. They're just about to start blooming. Cannot wait to see those guys. And it looks like they'll actually be blooming at the same time as the Ito peony that's over there, which I think will be great because they are really close to the same color. So anyways, these will not be hard, I don't think, to get in because this ground is super loose and these are super shallow. So I'm just going to lay them out and spread them out and see about how far they get us in this space. All right, the sedum is in now too, and I think I'm really excited about this spot. I think it looks really nice. Again, I'm just always kind of looking for contrasting colors and just colors that add interest to the garden. And this really bluish foliage compared to the boxwoods green and the glossy green of the rose, and then even kind of the bluish green of the Russian sage right there, that finally may actually have a chance to do its thing now that the Vitex is gone. It'll get a lot more sun. So that'll be great. And I think, actually, I don't even know why I didn't see this before. I'm pretty sure that this is the same variety. And you can see that, it actually does grow a lot more densely. I think this was splaying out a little bit just because of how I had it in this sad container situation. So yeah, that'll be fun to see how that grows in and what it does this season, if it kind of recovers from its floppiness. I don't know, maybe I should just even cut it back and let it revive itself. But anyway, I think I'll give it a minute to get settled in and then decide. But anyway, yeah, that was a lot of quick planting, and I'm really glad, obviously, as always, to get the plants in the ground that I've been having sitting around, especially those poor little guys that have been sitting around since last fall. But again, like I said, it's a testament to how strong sedum are for sure. So now we just have these two hosta, and I just think they're so pretty that I really don't want to just plop them just anywhere, especially at the risk of the dogs laying on them or them not being able to be, very visible. So let's just take them back, and I'll walk you back to the spot where I'm thinking we'll put them and see if that's what we're going to do. All right, here we are in the back shade area. You can see this bed. It's looking quite full, especially now that this hydrangea is really coming on. But right here on this corner, I tried annuals last year. They didn't really do that well. I have some pansies that have reseeded. But what I'm thinking is actually putting this one right here and then the autumn frost in a container right here, because just in a short time, these will be cut back. Actually, I'll probably do that before I place this in, but I'll probably grab a bigger container than that one and plant the autumn frost in there. It'll be nice and protected from the sun. But actually, now that I think about it, this one says that it can take part sun. So maybe I'll actually put that one down here and put this one in the container, since this one says that it is pretty much exclusively shade. I think I find that more so with ones that have a lot lighter margin on them, that they prefer more shade. So I'll go grab a bigger pot and also trim back the leopard's bane and get one in a container and tuck it back there, and then get the other one in the ground right in this spot. All right, well, as you can see, I ended up putting both of them in containers. I just kind of didn't want this one to get lost in the ground. I don't know, I just, actually, as I was sitting here, one of my dogs walked past me and stepped right in there, and I thought, oh, I just don't want him to do that to these plants. So since they're raised up a little bit, I think that will protect them. We'll see if I feel like they need to be planted in maybe in the fall. We'll see about that. But as of right now, this one's in a little bit of a smaller container than that one. Over time, I don't know. It's equal sizes really from what I'm finding online for what these could be. So this is kind of just, this isn't a long-term plan for these guys being in these containers, although hostas can stay in containers for quite a long time. I have one, show you over here. This guy's been in this container for years, and it does really well. It's kind of competing now against this hardy geranium, but it's been in this container for a really long time. I had another one. I have another one. I don't know if you can see that up through there in a container, kind of crooked, up there in a container that's been there for maybe 2 years, I think. And I had one in a smaller container, just a ceramic container, for several years, and I finally wanted to use the container for something else, so I transferred it out and planted the hostas into the ground. So they can definitely withstand time being in a container, but I don't know, it's kind of just a cheat, I guess. I was wanting to get everything in the ground. I didn't exactly know where I wanted those. I think right there would be a really good spot, but for now they'll be in those containers, and they look cute. I like having, as you've seen throughout my gardens, I like to have the terracotta pots sort of throughout with different plants in them. So I think they look nice for now, and they're a little bit more protected from the dogs and slugs too. They're not going to be attacked as much by slugs being in containers, so that is a good thing. But anyway, we cleared out the collection of plants that I had on the driveway over there, and I'm really excited about it. Not just because now I can feel okay maybe going and getting more plants. That's not it at all. I feel like it's just a good starting point now for me to really analyze my beds, to see where spots are needed, and maybe actually going to garden centers looking for one specific plant. Which makes it fun to feel justified in going from this plant store to this plant store to this plant store, because I'm looking for one specific thing, versus just going to all of them and just getting all the cool things that I see. So I just feel excited to have those in the ground, and to have kind of just the future shopping trips being a little bit more intentional. We'll see. We'll see. I'm optimistic that that's how it'll be. But anyway, I feel good having everything in the ground that we do, except for the annuals. Like I said, I do have annuals in my garden shed that are for these pots that I'm looking at right here. And we'll see. It's kind of a beautiful day, so we might actually tackle that today. I think that sounds like fun. So anyways, thank you for hanging out with me in this video and doing this project of getting all of these just random perennials in the ground. I think they're all going to be a lot happier where they are, and I know I'm happier that they're in the ground. So we will see you guys in the next video. Bye.